Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Jamaica News in Review. Man killed in Grand Spend drive-by shooting identified. The man killed in a shooting incident in the Grand Spend community in St. Andrew has been identified as 42-year-old Fabian Smith. Sections of Fagan Avenue in Grand Spend were cordoned off by the police following Monday morning's incident. According to reports, the now deceased was walking to a shop in the community when he was pounced upon by a gunman traveling in a blue Honda motor car who opened fire, hitting him. Reporters understand that Smith, who is originally from Patrick Gardens, was shot several times in the face. He was assisted to hospital by residents where he was pronounced dead. Kingston Central Police renew appeal for help in identifying body. The Kingston Central Police are continuing their appeal for the public's assistance in identifying the body of a man who was shot to death by unknown assailants on Vincent Street in Almantown, Kingston on Sunday, February 27. According to the police, the deceased is of brown complexion, slim-built, about 5 feet 8 inches long, and has unkempt hair. Reports are that about 11:20 a.m., residents heard explosions and summoned the police. On arrival of the lawmen, the deceased was seen lying on his back in a gully in the community. He was pronounced dead at hospital. Anyone who can assist with the identification is being asked to contact the Kingston Central Police at 876-922-5076, Police 119 emergency number, or the nearest police station. Long-standing feud behind stabbing death of stepdad. A long-standing feud is said to be behind the fatal stabbing of 45-year-old Conrad Morgan, allegedly at the hands of his teenage stepson. The incident occurred at their home in 4 Past Clarendon on Monday evening. Tension between the two were reignited Monday during a heated argument over the use of the bathroom. The police said the argument reportedly escalated into a fight and that both were allegedly armed with knives, which they said were used to inflict stabbing wounds to each other. The teenager reportedly received an injury to his left hand while Morgan was stabbed in the left side of his neck. Both were taken to hospital where Morgan died while being treated. The teenager, who attends a high school in the parish, was treated and later taken into police custody. Investigations are ongoing. Police probe death of 1-year-old in Clarendon. The Coffsill police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of a 1-year-old boy. Police report that the infant, Stephen West, was at home with his mother and stepfather on Monday when his lifeless body was found in a section of the house. The police were summoned and removed the child, who was later pronounced dead. According to the police report, the infant appeared to have fallen from bed the night before but was not taken to receive medical attention. In addition, citizens in the area said they heard the infant crying for much of the day on Sunday, the police reported. Investigations are ongoing. I'm not dead. Mandeville Mayor blames Paul's daughter for death rumor. Mayor of Mandeville and Council for the Royal Flat Division, Donovan Mitchell, has dispelled a rumor that was posted on social media claiming that he died. Speaking with reporters at the Manchester Municipal Corporation's Road and Works Department in Mandeville, Mitchell provided clarity on how the rumor started. He said his eldest daughter started the rumor to get his attention. We have been out of touch for a little while. I know her very well, trying to get my attention, he said. I'm alive and well. I am going to live until I am old enough for them to put me in a wheelchair and drive me around communities, he said. He thanked people locally and overseas who reached out to him. Confusion on Long Lane. Motorcyclist injured, ignored by motorist. 2 men, a motorcyclist and his brilliant passenger, were rushed to hospital after they were injured in a crash on a road known as Long Lane in St. Andrew on Tuesday. The incident triggered shock and confusion along the busy thoroughfare and even caused a traffic pileup. The unfortunate development also triggered a situation that has left one motorist bewildering and still trying to come to terms with what he witnessed. The motorist said that 2 men traveling on the motorcycle were injured to the point where they were laying on the ground bleeding, creating what he described as disturbing sight. But just when the motorist thought that things could not get any worse, he said he witnessed several motorists slowing down to see what was happening and even observing that the men were bleeding and in bad need of transportation to get to the hospital, but instead of stopping to render some assistance, the motorist drove past. I was trying to get assistance to get them to the hospital, but eventually everybody just passing, said the obviously distraught motorist. He said two good Samaritans came along several minutes later and offered help. The driver, who was grateful for the help, had a message to persons traveling on the road, motorcyclists and motorists alike. I would just like to implore the riders and drivers to look out for each other on the road, because it could have been any one of us. It was a horrible accident. To see a man like that just lying on the ground, everybody passing, no one to take him up to assist him, that could have been me, said the motorist. Reports from sources are that about 10 a.m., the two men were traveling on a motorcycle towards Constant Spring when a Toyota car was traveling in the opposite direction, when it is alleged that the driver attempted to turn right into a complex when the accident occurred. Leon Bailey signs as Flo brand ambassador. Jamaica and Aston Villa winger Leon Bailey has been named as the brand ambassador for communications and entertainment provider Flo. The 24-year-old Bailey was unveiled on Tuesday at a welcome ceremony at the AC Hotel in Kingston. Flo's senior marketing director, Sarah Martins de la Vera, said that the partnership will run for 3 years and will include commercial collaborations as well as philanthropic initiatives between the Flo Foundation and the Leon Bailey Foundation. Leon is a living example of what you can achieve with hard work, commitment, and focus. And we believe those are qualities worth celebrating, said the marketing director. Bailey was also welcomed by longtime brand ambassador and fastest woman alive Elaine Thompson-Hero. I want to thank the Flo team for believing in me and giving me the opportunity to be a part of your family, said Bailey. Family struggles to cope after tragic death of rising social media star. The untimely passing of the young comedian Lexington Williams has left her family struggling to cope with a pain they have never known. Williams died in a car crash in Trelawney on May 18. Relatives of the 20-year-old social media personality say the hurt is so unbearable they cannot bring themselves to share it on social media space she once flourished. To add to their grief, a GoFundMe account set up to assist with funeral expenses for their beloved, as well as to offset the medical cost of Williams' best friend, Celia Vernon, who was injured in the accident, has been met with negative comments from social media users. Williams' mother, Lena Paris, told reporters that comments questioning what her daughter did with the cash prize in a comedy competition she won last year has been most hurtful. She argued that critics have conveniently forgotten when her daughter won the grand prize in Cashment Entertainment's 876 roommates. She shared her winnings with the other finalists. We are really just trying to be strong, and I remember when Lexi was doing her thing before she eloped and all of this, she was just doing her videos. She got a lot of negativity, so we know it's a part of social media thing, but for me it's affecting me a whole lot, she said. I don't want to go on Facebook and Instagram and those stuff. I don't want to use it, she continued. Everybody was posting that Lexi brought joy to everyone's life and things that is really surprising. Lexi won the money and she shared half of it with her friends from the show. Come on, man. Remember, nobody cannot see the future. She didn't know her death was coming and she had goals, so that money she was left with, she used it to set up herself and put things in place to move forward. Paris added that her daughter had been putting things in place to secure her legacy. She said the GoFundMe account was set up partly to ensure that legacy was still realized. She said too that being the caring individual she was, her daughter would have wanted her best friend, who is battling for life at hospital, to be assisted in every way possible. Reporters understand that Vernon is in need of a pin to hold her leg in place. The latter was reportedly cost $100,000. The GoFundMe page is not even just for Lexi, it's for her best friend who is in hospital in critical condition. She had punctured lungs, broken ribs, her face twists, and one of her foot break. Knowing how close they were as a family, we wanted to help. Norwood bloodbath. Up to late Saturday evening, a tent-blanketed section of this community on the outskirts of tourism capital Montego Bay, Norwood, following the brutal gun slaying of 4 individuals in 2 separate incidents over a 12-hour period. All that occurred even as the zones of Special Operations ZOZO were active within the area. According to Minister of National Security Dr. Harris Chang, the four killing mark a first within the Norwood ZOZO since it was established in April of last year. This area has been very quiet. In fact, it's the first incident since the Zone of Special Operations was declared. But in one incident, you end up with this kind of thing. Within minutes, you end up with 9 people shot and 4 deaths, remarked Dr. Chong, who is also Member of Parliament for St. James Northwest, in which Norwood falls. On Saturday morning, the police were called to investigate the shooting death of 22-year-old Damon Minto, otherwise called Copper, 25-year-old Lenroy Martin, also called Akeem, and Delana Spence. Minto, a funeral home employee, and Martin, who worked in a wholesale, are from the worker community, while Spence is said to be from a nearby community. The triple murder came sharply on the heels of that of 17-year-old Devonte Lindo, who was also shot and killed about 9:15 p.m. on Friday night in a section of the Norwood community referred to as Cherry Gardens. It is uncertain if both incidents are connected. We are not sure, but it appears to be retaliation by his friends and family on this community, which was not aware of involvement in any kind of activity at all, Dr. Chong further stated. Reports are that about 9:45 a.m., several armed men entered the Worker Drive section of Norwood community on foot and started shooting, in the process hitting a number of people. 8 of them were shot and the 3 men later died at hospital, while the child and 4 others have been admitted. The young girl is said to have been shot by a stray bullet which flew through her living room window as she was preparing to go to church. It is believed that one of the 3 men who died was one of the men that carried out the attack and was hit by his cronies. This is one person who was shot and killed, and allegedly he was one of the attackers, so it is clear where this is coming from, and the investigative notes so far is pointing us in the right direction, Assistant Commissioner of Police Clifford Chambers stated. The police said that 50 Spence shells were later recovered by them from the crime scene. Minister Chang also expressed confidence that the perpetrators of the crime will be caught soon. The police have good information from intelligence activity, and we expect them to apprehend the criminals very quickly. There are clear indications that from where they came from and who they are, he remarked. Dr. Chang, however, lamented that the death of Minto, whom he helped during his years at school. One of the young men is one of my students. I helped his parents put him through school, sober working young person, bright young man looking towards going to college, the minister said. Speaking to the mother of Martin, who identified herself as Sunshine, she said that she was at the police station visiting another son who had been arrested, adding that she had brought him some food. As some food me bring go give me older son. When me hear say them shot him, Lenroy, she said. She shared that her son was a good individual, even though there were times when they had disagreements. My son a one good youth, him no give no problem. More while, me and him we have a discussion. Wrong discussion, that's all, she stated. 2 charged with murder following physical altercation. 2 men were on Tuesday, March 22nd, arrested and charged with murder following the death of 45-year-old Kurt Nemard, who they got into an argument with, which led to a physical altercation. Charged are 37-year-old Kenroy Brown, otherwise called Pops, and 26-year-old Christopher Jones, otherwise called CJ, both fishermen of Salt Gully, Old Harbour in St. Catherine. Reports are that about 7:30 a.m., Brown, Jones, and Nemard were involved in an argument when Brown threw several stones at Nemard at his house. It is alleged that Nemard then attacked both men with a machete and chopped Brown in the forehead. Brown then reportedly held onto Nemard while Jones inflicted several stab wounds all over his upper body. The police were summoned and Nemard was transported to hospital where he was pronounced dead. During the investigation, a statement was obtained from an eyewitness and an interview was done in the presence of the men's attorney. Both Brown and Jones were subsequently charged. Their court date is being finalized. Wildman street man charged with murder. A man who was allegedly among a group who attacked and chopped 36-year-old Winston Dunkley, otherwise called Perry, resulting in his death, was arrested and charged with his murder. He is 21-year-old Romeo Scott of Wildman Street in Kingston. Reports are that Dunkley was inside the house when Scott and other men armed with knives and machete forced open the front door to his room. They reportedly gained entry and proceeded to attack Dunkley, chopping and stabbing him all over his body. Dunkley was transported to hospital where he was pronounced dead. The incident occurred on James Street, Rose Garden, in the parish about 1:40 a.m. The police said Scott was subsequently charged after a question and answer interview in the presence of his attorney. 13-year-old student stabbed to death, uncle taken into custody. A 13-year-old student was stabbed to death in Clarendon Sunday morning, and his 22-year-old uncle has since been taken into custody in relation to the incident. The incident happened in the Mourns housing scheme in Clarendon. The deceased has been identified as Omarion Hanniford, a student of Kelly's High School. The police reported that about 9:15 a.m., the teen was attacked and stabbed several times. The police were summoned and the teen was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. The police said the uncle, whom it is said is of unsound mind, was detained. He is presently in custody of the Coffs Hill police station. It is the third killing of a student since Monday. Man believed to be mentally unstable, beaten to death by mob after stabbing incident. A man is dead and another remains in hospital following a stabbing incident in the Mapen Market in Clarendon on Saturday. The deceased, Ricardo Brown, of a Canaan Heights address in the parish, was mobbed after it is alleged that he used a knife to inflict wounds on two brothers in the busy market district. The incident, which happened about 3:15 p.m., ensued when a man accosted the now deceased who had a previous confrontation with his spouse. According to the police report, a physical altercation developed when Brown used a knife to stab the man. The brother of the injured man later intervened and he too was stabbed twice in the shoulder and abdomen. Citizens then mobbed the attacker, killing him before assisting the injured persons to hospital, where one brother was treated and released, while the other was admitted. His condition is not known. Further investigations by the police revealed that Brown had been provoking citizens and had been creating mischief all day. In addition, the citizens indicated that he appeared to be mentally unstable. The police have also revealed that Brown is no stranger to them, having been previously charged with shooting with intent, illegal possession of a firearm, and assault at common law against a member of the Jamaica Defense Force in 2017. He was also arrested and charged with unlawful wounding against the police in 2016. Senior citizen killed in Manchester crash. A senior citizen died as a result of injuries he sustained in a crash in Miketown, Manchester on Saturday night. The police have since identified the deceased as 32-year-old Derek Blackwood, a mechanic and resident of Miketown. A report from the Constabulary Communications Unit said Blackwood was driving a motor vehicle on Nisbury Street when he lost control of it. The vehicle went off-road into a gully. Firefighters had to be called at 10 p.m. to extricate Blackwood from the mantled vehicle. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.